What's up, everybody? It's Dingers with the Boys time. We're back with another episode after Thanksgiving. Hopefully everyone had a great Thanksgiving. We got a guest, as you can see, Mr. B, Timbo. We were talking before. We want him to do the entire pod in that voice.
That's not gonna happen. I
think that would hurt your voice.
It would be hard. I'd laugh too much.
Well, first of all, everybody tune out. Not that there's a lot to tune in.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how long they'd last.
Hey, that could be the thing that puts us over.
Yeah,
That's
true. That's our
the
break.
missing piece.
Yep.
Yeah.
First, before we get into it, just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of dive in.
I'm actually Tim's father-in-law. I recently retired. I don't know. What else do you want to know, Tim?
You're from Chicago.
From Chicago originally. Grew up a Cubs fan, a Blackhawk fan. Not so much Bears and Bulls, as much, but yeah.
And then you moved here when you were younger.
I moved here when I was 9, so
Yep.
Went to Nuggets games and Rockets games at the Auditorium Arena and stuff.
Yep.
And in fact, I had to show you guys the Auditorium Arena when we went down there. And, what's left of it.
And we've talked about it a little bit on the pod with you being on it, and because Book as well, he's been a long time Denver fan, and so you guys have a different aspect than we do because we're a lot younger, so we didn't see like the Rockets and all that, and kind of like
you missed out.
Yeah, right. And the start of the the Rockies, really the start of the Avalanche. I mean,
true.
we were there, but we were so young. We don't. Well, especially Kyle wasn't.
I was not. He wasn't even around.
Yep.
So, But yeah, it's great to have you on. We've been trying to get you on for ever now.
I finally talked to you.
I've been waiting for my invitation for the folks out there. Yeah, my phone hasn't been ringing. Every week I've been looking at it, wondering how can they keep going and not invite me. But that's all right. I don't know if it's an age thing.
We finally
it could be an age discrimination thing. But
we finally found something that you're an expert of. From what we've been told, you have the perfect solution for the college football playoffs.
Well, I don't know about the perfect solution. First of all, I'm going to say it's better now than it's been for, in recent times at all. I mean, this is just, it's at least we've got some excitement on it and stuff. I'm a little disenchanted today with CU losing. And so it's a little tough to talk about. I didn't expect to be there, but boy, we got close. We got down to that game last night.
Yeah. Well, and you remember back before they even had just one game for the championship.
Right.
So
and
that was
you would pay attention to, you would try to guess what they were going to vote on.
Yeah.
What the committee was like. You might be number 6, but these guys are playing number 3, and if this happens,
a chance.
So there was a little excitement there, like the years CU won.
Yeah, 19 was that 90?
Yeah,
90.
And but it's nothing like this. I mean,
it just almost feels like a sham back then because it's like, all right, you are the top, but it's like, man, you want to have that one game against the other top team to really solidify it. I feel like.
I agree.
And you still, it's kind of a sham in a lot of ways. I mean, it's good the way it is now, but you still have the committee deciding who's in and who's not in the end.
Yeah, especially those last couple.
And you're not going to be able to take power away from them.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. I mean, any solution you have has to involve them.
Yeah.
Or they'll never go for it.
Yeah.
It's just like these bowl commissioners and stuff. It's like this is what they do all year long as they host the Orange Bowl or whatever.
And I'm actually
it's like they're not going to get rid of their jobs.
I'm surprised the football playoff committee, it's only 13 people. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I was reading that when I was researching all this, that it's only 13 people. I thought it'd be a little bit more.
Kind of like all the writers and stuff. Like 100 of them would vote.
The AP poll, that consists of 62 writers and broadcasters around the nation.
You would think more would be better.
You would think.
The 13 people, though, they're not writers or anything, right?
No.
So I honestly almost like that more than the writers.
Well, who are they?
I saw a list. I remember a couple of them. It's like the Nevada athletic director I know.
Like the college?
Yeah.
Like of the University of Nevada?
Yep.
Well, that's kind of weird. That's a little biased.
I agree. Every single one of them, like, they have some biases. It's like former head coaches of this team, or
really
former coach of this team, or
and how
like
are they really paying attention to everything?
Yeah, how do they not have bias?
Yeah,
for sure. Like I think the Navy like Navy athletic director is on there too.
I was saying that I didn't want the writers so there wouldn't be biased, but that makes it even more biased.
I think there's honestly more after I was reading. I should have wrote it down. I didn't think it really mattered, but there was some a lot of former Wisconsin coaches or Nebraska coaches.
So you would think writers,
big name schools,
you could get 100 of them nationwide.
Yeah,
and it would be more unbiased.
And the AP,
if it's like that, yeah. I thought it was 13 people that it didn't have anything to do with the schools.
Every state for the AP poll, every state I think for the most part. I don't know if Alaska has one, but at least one person from that state. So it's spread out.
Let's make it like the House. We'll give every state 2 writers.
Yeah.
Right.
And then just do it.
And do it like that.
And it's like, that should be fair.
But yeah.
What if you're a writer for CSU, though, and say CU's in it, and you're like, I hate CU?
That's only one vote.
Would that be, I don't know.
It's only one vote, which doesn't make it difference if you have 100 of them as opposed to if you have 16,
I would assume that if you're, say, Nevada or something, somebody that just sucked this year, if you're putting them they're the best team in the nation, you'd probably get your voting privileges taken away. I would expect.
I mean, it's the same thing in the MVP voting and stuff in NFL, NBA. And we talked about this big time in the NBA last year because just because Jokic had won it 2 out of the past 3 years, or even the year before when Embiid won it, they're like, well, we're not going to vote for him because we don't think he's a 3-time person. It's so he could have the best
there's so much politics.
Season this year in the entire NBA ever, but you're not going to vote for him because you don't think he deserves 3.
Not to mention, they an East Coast bias in anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the bulk of them, whatever, and I'm sure the bulk of these people, all of them reside on the East Coast,
and I would say,
I'm sure.
I would probably say the committee probably has it even worse because their job is to try to put the best games out there. Yeah. It's they don't want to put out a game that ends up being a blowout.
Especially if it's one of those teams that it was on the bubble or something.
Exactly.
I mean, you see the NCAA March Madness, they get ostracized every once in a while when it's wow, why didn't you put this team in? And then they get their butts kicked.
I think there's going to be a lot of that this year, which you knew there would be going from 4 to 12. There's always going to be that 1 or 2 teams.
No matter what the cutoff is, it's always going to be there. So.
You'll have
I think there's some teams that it's going to be interesting. All right, why does this team really deserve to be in there over this team? But,
well, let's hear what your take is.
All right.
What do you think?
Well, you guys mentioned this before, and then you blew it aside like all my other ideas. I don't know if it's an age discrimination thing once again. But anyway, what I would go with 16 teams.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's kind of ridiculous to do, you're given the buys now. I think it's ridiculous to have any buys. I think it's ridiculous to have home field advantage for anybody.
Yeah.
So why are you saying this team should get a home field when the team right below them's got to go on the road?
Yeah.
And we're not, and it's like that. Where do you make that cutoff to? So you go to 16, use the minor bowl games, the Sun Bowl, the things like that, as your first round games.
Yeah.
You can't tell me they wouldn't love to host a 1 versus 16 game.
Yeah. Like an Oregon versus Iowa State or something like that.
And and you could rotate the bottom ones. So you could have the Fiesta and the big ones up on the top still. But the bottom ones, the Sun Bowls and stuff, you could even rotate amongst the small teams or the small bowls.
Yeah.
Every 2 or 3 years, they would get to host one of these games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the time, they get what's left over, like the CU game. Unfortunately, we're not in this thing this year and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was why would you look at Indiana or who am I looking at? Penn State. You got them right there, number 3. They're hosting. They get to host the game. We knew that last week. We knew that 2 weeks ago that was going to happen because they're not going to be in the championship.
Yeah.
So
they are in the championship now.
Well, yeah.
Because of Ohio State lost.
And so right. So that's, But if it didn't happen, they'd still be up there.
Yeah.
If Ohio State would have won.
No matter what, probably the Oregon-Penn State game, that's who plays in the Big Ten championship. Whoever loses that will be a 4 through 7, most likely. And so they will still...
Right.
Or a 5 through 7, sorry.
But let's say Ohio State would have won. Then you got Penn State sitting here, a lame duck. They're not going to be in the championship game. They're not going to lose.
Yep.
They get a home field game without playing somebody.
Yeah. Well, then you have Oregon, Penn State, and Ohio State all in the same conference.
They will agree with you once in a while, but they don't invite us old people on occasions.
Hey, Book is invited every single time. He agrees with us.
This will be my last appearance.
Yeah. So as long as you disagree with Kyle, that's all good.
I know, me and Tim have been disagreeing.
We've been
We've been going at it.
But it's been fun because I've been right on all of them, so it's like, it's really nice.
That's wrong. But
go ahead.
I will agree, like, I don't think there should be buys, like, because you really haven't earned it. And I don't think buys are ever good in sports. It's like you look historically, and sometimes the buys even hurt teams, like being off a week.
And that's the other thing, too.
So I think if I was a team, I would not want the buy. But what I hate the most about the buys is it, and I think the reason why they did it, is they want to reward conference championships. And they think so highly of the conferences, which from the last few weeks, I don't.
Well, the only team that hurts, literally in the nation, is Notre Dame.
I know.
Because none of the other independents are going to make the top 12.
I think me and you both agree that I think Notre Dame's definitely a top 4 team.
That's right. Like, if it was a bye, like, they should be a top 4 team.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it should just go off who's the top 4 teams. If it's from the same conference.
Well, that's where, exactly.
Same conference,
there you go.
Like,
yeah. Like we've talked about this before. If all 4 of the top 4 teams are SEC teams and they're the top 4 in the nation, all right, you know, I mean, beat them then, you know. I mean, show why they shouldn't be kind of thing.
But
I agree there, too.
What sucks is, like, Oregon, they're the number 1 team in the nation, have been basically all season. They're now playing Penn State in the Big Ten championship. If they win, they get a first-round bye. If they lose, there's a chance they don't. Like,
well, they won't.
Or they won't for sure. But they
you got to look. Penn State's only lost 1 game, and they lost to Ohio State.
Oregon would only lose 1
kind of
game,
thing.
too. Yeah. So it's like, I would still put Oregon, even if they lose, above Penn State.
Even if Penn State beats Oregon, you're putting Oregon ahead of Penn State.
Yeah.
See, now this is where Kyle sometimes goes off the rails.
Tim, now you know what I mean.
How does it make it any different, though?
Penn State beat Oregon, and you're putting
Oregon
Oregon
have
ahead.
1 loss, though.
But who'd they lose to? If
Oregon?
Penn State beats Oregon,
beat Ohio State, and Ohio State.
that was weeks ago.
So that doesn't matter anymore?
Well,
it
matters,
does, but not
as
head
good
to
as
head.
head-to-head, yeah.
Like, it would be, all right, it'd be different. Say Oregon and Texas play, okay? Then Oregon loses to Texas.
I think
or
it
Penn
would
State and
depend-
Oregon still have 1 loss. Then I can see what you're saying. But it's head to head.
I think it would depend on how they lose.
So if they lose by 2 points, then it's okay.
Yep, it could have gone either way. It's like, I'd still give it to Oregon. I'll die on this hill.
I don't even... Okay, so... I don't even know what to say to that. I mean...
No, I don't either. Anyone care for a dud before we continue?
Seriously. Yeah, give it to Kyle, because that was a dud take right there. I don't even know what to say. So, all right, so Texas, they've lost 1 game. It was to Georgia. Well, Georgia's lost to Bama and Ole Miss. So if, say, Georgia beats Texas, Georgia beats Texas, where do you do that? Because then they're 1-1, but Georgia's lost 2, Texas have lost 2.
At that,
so who do you put ahead of there?
I guess Georgia. I don't know. I don't make sense, but I don't know.
I don't know.
All right, I stand corrected. You guys won that one.
Like I said, it's who they've lost to, but if the head-to-head, that's the number one thing. That's why, like, at the bottom, a lot of people are saying South Carolina should get ahead of Bama, but Bama beat South Carolina.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you put Bama at 13 and South Carolina at 12 if they have the same record?
Yeah.
But Alabama beat South Carolina.
Yeah, it's
kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Well,
it's like they say losses are like detrimental, but it doesn't matter who you've won against, basically.
I think it depends on who you've lost to, though.
Alabama, they've beat Georgia, They beat LSU. They beat
Oklahoma, Missouri, South Carolina. Those are some of their bigger ones.
Yeah. Or they've lost to Oklahoma.
Or they lost to Oklahoma. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah,
so
they lost to Oklahoma.
They've lost to some teams that they shouldn't have.
Well, they lost to Oklahoma, who's 6-6. They lost to Vanderbilt, who's 6-6.
Yeah.
Those are two bad losses. Then they lost to Tennessee, who's 10-2. Which, all right, that's there. South Carolina, on the other hand, have lost to LSU, who's 8-4, Ole Miss 9-3, Bama 9-3. So it's like if you look at losses, I would say that Bama has the worse losses than South Carolina, so South Carolina should be up. But because it's head-to-head, I don't know how you put South Carolina ahead of Bama.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on whether the committee values head-to-head more than other things. And also, you mentioned this earlier, that if you lose early in the season, it doesn't mean as much. If you lose later in the season, it does. Which I think that's a bunch of BS.
Which,
like a loss is a loss.
Look at the Notre Dame loss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The loss, that was a long time ago. People kind of forgot about it. I mean, whatever, that was a bad loss and whatever. But if it just happened a week or two ago,
they would be.
Where would be right now?
I don't even know if they'd be.
I don't know if they would either.
Exactly. Even at 11-1 still.
But
I don't know if they're.
If you have the 16, you don't care.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, they're going to play on a neutral site. They're going to play somebody. You're going to have to beat them all anyway.
Did you write down Notre Dame's strength of schedule?
Yeah, their strength of schedule was 57. So there's 134 teams. Their strength of schedule is 57.
Yeah.
On comparison, Oregon's is 60, Texas 32, Penn State 36, Notre Dame 57. Georgia's strength of schedule actually is number 3 in the country, which is, I mean, they play all the SEC teams and stuff. Tennessee, though, is 28. So that's kind of, it's very interesting that Georgia's so much higher. Ohio State's 26, or SMU 75, Indiana 65, Boise State 86, Bama's up to 16. So out of the top 18, 19 teams, Georgia has the top at 3, and then you have South Carolina at 15 and Bama at 16.
Yeah,
those are your top ones.
There's a good chance 2 of those 3 teams are not even going to make it.
Right.
So if I'm if I'm a team,
you think 2 of those 3 are going to make it? I think Bama or South Carolina.
I could see Alabama making it now, especially since they bumped up to 11th.
They'll do anything for Alabama to make it.
Yeah.
Especially we all know that going in.
Everybody, the committee loves Alabama.
They do.
Well, with Miami losing too, because I think if Miami would have won, even if they would have lost in the ACC championship versus SMU, I think they would have made it.
Yeah.
Now I don't see them making it.
I agree. I think Miami losing makes it that there's only going to be one ACC team that makes it. It's basically going to be whoever wins the championship.
Yep.
I think same thing in Big 12. Whoever wins the championship is going to be in.
And we've known that for a while.
Yeah.
Boise State.
For weeks we've been saying that you can only get in by winning.
Exactly. Same thing with Mountain West. It'll probably be the only one.
Boise State, I think, as long as they win, they're in.
Well, no matter what, if these 5 win, the 5 conference, I think you're confused at this because we were talking about this earlier. No matter what, if you win your conference, pretty much it's the Mountain West, Big 12, SEC, Big 10, ACC. No matter what, if whoever wins those gets in. Technically, Army has a chance, but it's extremely slim. I don't see them making it.
I don't either.
But it's pretty much those 5 winners will make it. Those will be the automatic.
Yeah, they're automatically. Yeah, and the top 4 of those
will get a bye.
Will get a bye.
Yep. Yeah. And the 5th one, honestly, will probably be the 12 seed. To be honest with you, it'll probably be like ACC or the ACC champion.
Well,
maybe the Big 12. If
Big 12, it'll be one of those 2.
I would say the 12 seed is probably going to be either ASU, Iowa State, or Boise State.
But that said, does the other one deserve a bye?
No. And I've said that. I don't think so. Yeah. And I said this a few weeks ago. Say CU would have gotten in. I love CU. I think they're great. I don't think they would deserve a bye. I don't think they're a top 4
That's why you do the 16.
Yeah.
You don't
but it's so if I'm a team, if I'm a school, I don't even think I'd want to be in the SEC. I'd want to be in the ACC or even I don't know, the Big 12 or something. Hey, I'll get a easier strength of schedule and I can just.
Yeah, but then you pretty much have to win your.
Yeah, you pretty much because you're kind of limited to one.
That's where the SEC and Big 10 will get multiple teams in.
They will.
ACC probably won't. Big 12 probably won't. Mountain West probably won't. Mountain West, the only way they would is if UNLV beats Boise State. I could see possibly Boise State still getting in.
Yeah.
I don't see SMU or Clemson getting in if they lose, or ASU or Iowa State. I
think it helps Boise State, too, that they have Genty being a Heisman candidate.
Yeah.
I think they'll want to put the Heisman people in there as much as possible.
Well, do you know who Boise State's only loss is to?
Oregon.
That's where that's a huge thing too. So that's where if they lose to UNLV,
and they only lost by 3.
Yeah,
and it was earlier in the season.
So. Yeah, I think it was the first game of the year actually.
I thought it was like third. I don't even know. It could be in the first game.
Speaking of which, and then you're back to the Colorado thing.
Yeah.
Boy, did they want us to make it?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt they didn't want to see.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they want to see
Travis Hunter. They want to see Travis Hunter and Shedeur play.
Travis, yep.
And now it's like, I don't know, they may not play.
Well, do you think so? Say there was 16. Do you think CU would even have a chance at that?
I think they would.
I think they would.
I think they.
It's early to say, but maybe today they would. They'd be right on the cusp.
Yeah. Yeah, because right now they're ranked 20 in the AP.
Yeah.
Which obviously the college football rankings are a little different, but they'll probably be right around that 20. So it kind of depends on who else would lose.
Yeah, we'd be thinking. Yeah, it would still depend.
It would at least be
today. I think we'd probably be one of the final spots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, either that or we're the first team out. Probably.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Well, especially if it's not dependent on the college or the conference championship. Yeah. If it's not dependent on that, I think we'd actually even have a better chance, kind of thing. Yeah. Because I would say, I personally would think that we were better than UNLV, Clemson. It's hard to say like BYU, Iowa State, because we didn't play either of them, right?
No.
Did we play? And so, but they were in our conference. Right. I mean, it's hard to say because we have 3 losses; they'd have 2.
Right. We got.
And so
I think if you look at Football Power Index, it's like a algorithm that ESPN made that has a bunch of math and is based on like net winning margins and all kinds of stuff. Colorado is actually the number 1 team in the Big 12. If you look at the Power Index, I think they were 18th nationally.
We certainly could have competed with anybody.
Oh, for sure.
So
I think so.
It's like I wouldn't say there's anybody in the Big 12 that'd be like, no, they're better than us. I mean, I think we could.
You look at CU and all of their losses. I think you can pin on us more than the opponent.
Yeah, I mean, during the Kansas one, how many missed tackles? We had 15 missed tackles at the halftime.
Yeah,
which is
it's like you're beating yourself at that point.
Yeah,
but the K-State team, like we were talking about this the other night, we should have won that game. Mm-hmm. Nebraska, I think we're just a complete different team than when we played Nebraska. I think if we played Nebraska now, I don't think it would be close.
Yeah, honestly. It would be a blowout. But I think the Nebraska game really like lit a fire under CU, and I think that's a big reason why they were so successful.
Could be
playing so bad against Nebraska and getting like a talking to probably like, hey, is this who you want to be this year, or
did we win? Was it 7 more? Straight after that?
Yeah, I think so.
7 straight.
But
that Kansas loss still is.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh my god, we're gonna make the Big 12 championship.
It made it even worse. Like Kansas getting like pummeled by Baylor.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
But I mean, Kansas also beat Iowa State and the K-State.
No, they beat Kansas. BYU. Kansas beat BYU, Iowa State, and us.
Right in a row. Yeah.
And so why aren't they there? Talk about a letdown. I mean, we're disappointed, but if you were a Kansas fan, it was like, how do you win those games and then lose half your games?
Well, and then it's to become bowl eligible, like yesterday, and then you get worked. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know.
So that's,
But do you guys want to go down, just say who we think the 12 are going to be? Not in any particular order necessarily, but who we think. I think we all think Oregon, no matter what they're getting.
I think like you have 8 teams that I think are for sure in.
I was at Oregon, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame, Georgia, I would say.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Ohio State, Indiana.
I think you said Ohio State. Or Indiana.
Those 8, are we all saying pretty much those will get in?
Yeah.
And then after that, you got SMU or Clemson. I actually kind of think Clemson's going to beat SMU, so I think Clemson's going to get in, and I don't think they're going to put SMU
in at all.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Even with only 2 losses, the other one being to BYU.
I can totally see that.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think they're going to be the 9th. Boise.
I think Boise State
UNLV. Boise State only beat them by 5 earlier this year.
Yeah,
and that's UNLV has lost to them and Syracuse, who Syracuse is a 9-3 team. I could see UNLV beating them. Then I actually think Boise State would still get in with a loss.
Really?
If it's a close loss, I think they would get in.
I don't see it. Just because of their strength of schedule.
Strength of schedule is 86.
Like, other than Oregon, they haven't played anybody. It's like...
So you're thinking, both of you guys think only Boise State and UNLV?
If you're thinking,
for sure.
If Boise State were to lose, and you're thinking like a Miami or something... Yeah.
If you're
going there instead,
if you're going to say SMU,
somebody like that, don't you think they'd like to see their quarterback play? You know, I mean, I just think nationally,
there's no way that
I don't think they'd let him
make it. There's no way.
Yeah,
I don't know. I could see it. Well, and especially after you said like Gentry. I don't know.
Well, that's
Jonte.
I think they could get in, and then I think it'll be either Arizona State or Iowa State.
Yeah,
and then you're looking at. If you guys don't say Boise State, then you have 2 more that you're saying that are going to get in between, say UNLV wins.
Right.
Okay. So you have Boise State, Bama, South Carolina, Miami, Ole Miss, I don't think, Iowa State, BYU, none of them. So that's pretty much who you're going between 2 of them. Boise State, Bama, South Carolina, Miami. 2 out of those 4.
I personally think the 2 would be Alabama
and Miami.
And probably, Miami.
Miami?
I think
you don't think South Carolina?
No.
I think South Carolina is going to get in before Miami. Just because South Carolina, I think, has worse losses. Miami, that Georgia Tech loss is a pretty big loss.
Yeah.
And they just lost to Syracuse. And like we said earlier, I think the losses later in the year are a bigger deal.
I think, like what I was saying, though, earlier, you want the Heisman contenders in there. Miami's got Cam Ward.
Is he really a Heisman contender, though?
Even when
I know he's technically up there, but is he?
Even when they lose, he's putting up massive stats.
I think it's pretty much Travis Henry.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter or Jonte. Literally, it's just between them 2. And I don't even think it should be close. I think Travis Hunter
Jonte is actually 3rd. I think it's actually between Hunter and Dylan Gabriel from Oregon. I think the last time I looked at odds and
how many do they invite? Is it? I think it's kind of 5. Is it always 5?
I thought it was 3.
4.
I thought it was 3.
Does it vary?
It
must vary, maybe.
Well, I know, like on like NCAA like games and stuff, they always say like, "Oh, your top 3 finalists" and everything like that, and so they always show only the top 3. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Shador's numbers are right there too, though.
Yeah, I think he's top 5.
That much different than the Miami quarterback. They're right there,
exactly.
And it's like, honestly, if we would have made this, he might be going to that. You know,
he said he's going to go no matter what, even if he's invited or not, and I'm sure with Travis Hunter too.
Right. But I'm sure he might be invited.
UCU players might go, but you're saying like to go
just to go watch
the audience.
I think he
like we could.
Yeah, I think he was saying that he's gonna go like no matter what, even though he doesn't know like he's not gonna win kind of thing. And I think it's kind of a mixture of both him playing like to show like, hey, I should have been here / also kind of
going for support
Hunter
though. He'll go
as well.
He'll go.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see where those 2 guys.
And Prime will be there too.
Oh yeah,
Prime will definitely be there.
Yeah. They're saying that they're going to go 1 and 2 possibly in the draft next year. Hunter and Shador, which would be
depends on where the Raiders land.
Yeah, I don't want
drafted.
I want Shador on the Raiders.
I don't want either. Yeah,
because I'm always going to root against the Raiders. I don't want to root against Shador. I want him to go somewhere else and be like, okay.
Well, a lot of people think Jacksonville could pick him too because especially with Trevor Lawrence. Well, especially with Trevor Lawrence out, who knows how long he's going to be out. A lot of people are saying it, man.
There's no way they draft a quarterback.
Just telling you, a lot of people have been looking at stuff.
They are wrong. There's no way that you give up on Trevor Lawrence.
I'm just saying. That's what I've seen.
You're hearing.
I don't know what you're hearing.
That's what I'm hearing on my Insider channel.
You're hearing like wacko Central TV.
Yeah.
Central TV.
Yeah.
What?
Exactly. It's a made-up news source. That's where
Whatever.
you get
Like
it.
this podcast.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Goes all over the world.
Exactly.
bring the
We are
facts.
worldwide.
Facts go worldwide.
What did the was it the boxing guy? What was his name? He used to say, "From the thousands watching here and the millions watching around the world." That's what our podcast is. From the 3 that are here and the millions across the world, welcome. But all right, so we kind of all agree that it should go to 16.
Yeah.
No buys. I think eventually, actually, it will.
I think so too.
It
I
probably
think-
will.
Just as you've seen, like you've seen it a lot more than we have. Like we were saying, that they didn't even used to have a game, and so from that, it gotten
was
so much better.
It was really rough because there were some years you'd have a Boise State or somebody like that that go undefeated or whatever.
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
and it's
they're not going to be in the championship game, and
Yeah.
you might vote them number 8 or whatever when it's all said and done. But that
Exactly.
doesn't mean anything. But this way, it's like, I mean, you can't help who you play
well that exactly.
and how good you, whatever conference you're in, if you're dominating or whatever.
Yeah.
You
This
might be
gives you
that
a
good,
chance.
but this way you'll get to compete against.
That's what I
them.
like about this. No matter
And
what,
that's
if
why
you're-
it's so much better than it's ever been.
well, and it, like what was it? FAU a few years ago, was it Florida Atlantic that went undefeated?
Yeah.
It was Florida
I don't
Atlantic,
remember.
right?
Yeah.
I think-
They went undefeated, but they're
They
not a
didn't.
top 4 team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though they went undefeated, it's like, well, this gives them a chance. Like,
Yeah.
all right, hey, here you go. Like, that gives them a chance. And then
Right.
the 16, I think the buys, I think, are stupid with the conference champions, too. It should be the best 4 if you're going to keep the buys. If not, just go to 16 teams.
Right.
Because it's not going to really add
And if you
much.
want to put something on it, you can say whoever wins the
Yeah.
championships, they get in. They're going to
Yeah.
get in
Yeah.
anyway.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But we can
Yeah,
say
you
that.
automatically
we can
do.
say that
Like-
to appease the
Exactly.
conference people.
What Tim said in the past, like if you win your conference, you're guaranteed to have home field.
Yeah, you're guaranteed maybe in the top 8. Like,
Yeah.
if you're 16, you're guaranteed in the top 8, so you get home field. But I like your idea. I don't think
I
you
don't
should
think
get it home
any-
field.
right.
I think it should be those smaller
Yeah.
bowls. And after the first round, it does go to some other bowls and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the first round, so those, 5 through 8 are home field
Right.
versus the
Yeah.
9
Right.
through 12.
And it's
then
like
it'll
you
go-
could use those bowls. They would love to have that game. Oh,
yeah.
my God.
Well,
we would go
compare
to that game.
Like, think of even like Hawaii, the Hawaii Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay. They're saying it's going to be CU possibly versus, I can't even remember who. And I'm like, all right, you're telling me you'd rather have that game compared to, say, I don't know, say Ohio State, Tennessee or something
Right,
like that.
exactly.
You know, it's like, of course
Exactly.
you'd rather have
And,
that.
you know,
Yeah.
we see these we do a little pool and that kind of like everybody else. And you pick
Yeah.
and you watch these games in December and whatever, these low bowls. And there's like 5,000 people
Exactly.
there. There's like nothing.
Yeah.
And it was like, that wouldn't happen.
Exactly. And,
that
those
kind of
teams can
stuff.
still get into a bowl,
Right.
but it's just, yeah. It
And
definitely
especially
makes
because
it a little
like
bit-
college football, it's a business first, just like the NFL and NBA and everything else. It's like you want to sell the most tickets.
Yeah.
You want to sell
And
like,
that
the
would-
most things.
yeah.
That would bring in
And
probably
that
the
would bring
most
it.
money.
Boy, would we watch those games. Holy
Yeah.
cow.
Oh, for
You
sure.
know?
Well, because, yeah, how many of those early bowls do you actually watch?
Right. But boy, we watch every one of them now.
If I-
1 versus
if I
16, you'd watch
rank
that
them-
just to see.
I'll watch them if I rank them pretty high in our little pool.
I never even change the ranking half the time. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why I don't do very, because I'm like, I
It's
don't
a
even know
hard pool.
these teams. Like,
Last-
some of these
it's
teams,
hard
I'm
to
like, I
rank.
have no idea.
Last year, I got into it. I had researched.
Did you?
Did he
Get
win?
money?
Did you
I
win?
think I got like third.
Oh, okay.
So
Are
it
you
didn't
sure?
work. But
Are you sure?
yeah, I think so.
I don't know. We might have to check
Yeah, I
that
have
too.
no
I don't
idea.
know.
I don't remember.
Kyle
No,
says he
fact
does
check
good,
me.
and he's only made the top 3 in our fantasy football once out of 6
I
years
won,
and
though.
stuff. And,
I won.
yeah.
When I do good, I win.
You got a ring. Show him the ring. Yeah.
Yeah. But so I know you've been listening. We've been doing a food like segment every time. So want to go into that. I was watching the BYU and Houston game last night, and they were talking about the best concession. It's like the ESPN Food of the Year best concessions or something like that. And this is all over the country
Yeah.
and everything. Pro or college, whatever. What is the best food you've had? And they were talking about this at the BYU game. They have this thing called the Cougar Tail, and it's like a 15-inch like maple donut. And I thought it was a chili cheese hot dog at first, like the carton that it was. I was like, man, that's awesome. That looks so
that
good.
Would make me
sick.
Like I wouldn't see the rest of the game. I'd have to leave. There's no way I could eat out.
You wouldn't do it?
No.
I would do it for sure.
What if you shared it with somebody?
Yeah, could you share it?
Yeah, I could do that.
Like, how much of the 15
I'm not
inches
going
could
to
you
eat
eat?
a 15-inch maple covered whatever, right? I mean,
But you got to try it.
yeah. Unlike Tim, I have food limits.
I know where we're going next year.
I want to go just to try that. It's like
we should make a sign of like, I'm here for the donut.
I'm here for the cougar tail.
Yeah.
Probably cost you $20 too. But
I didn't look how much it was, but I didn't even know there was a concession food of the year. Like, how didn't I know that?
Yeah, I don't know.
If anybody here would know, it'd be you.
That's where we need to like look to see what games we're going to.
What's the best food? So, out of all the places you've been, what's the best food that you can remember?
South Korea.
At a baseball game? Not.
Oh, are you saying like okay.
Also, South Korea, that was not the best food ever.
Listen,
that's a terrible take
pretty good.
there. You're telling me you'd eat that before pizza every day?
They had pizza there. It was weird.
So it's not South food.
Yeah, it was just different.
All right, best
pizza. It was on a tortilla.
All right,
at a sporting event.
At a sporting event or like concert or
Let's
anything.
see.
Is there any that just is above everywhere else? Or you can say even like or not a convenience store, a like amusement park or something too, like a concession area.
Can I say Dippin' Dots?
You're lame. You're so lame.
No, I don't mean that.
You do.
I just wanted to say
he's going to say vanilla ice cream at wherever he goes.
They do have some good vanilla ice cream. Some places.
I'm just not a concession connoisseur like you are and stuff.
So you can't think of any that...
You know, like go to a ball game, I eat a hot dog, that kind of thing. And
so, all right, your
some
best
places
hot
are
dog.
worse. Well, you know, like in Wrigley
Chicago,
Field, I will go, but you have to find the right ones. There's only a stand or two there that actually do the Chicago hot dog and stuff. The rest
in the stadium?
In the stadium. The rest of them are okay. It's like a Coors Field hot dog. I mean, give me a break. It doesn't do anything for me.
That's kind of weird that they only do it at a couple.
Yeah, a couple.
There.
Now, I hear like in Milwaukee, which I've never been, but, you know, they do all their sausages and stuff, and I hear everybody that goes says, oh, that's great. But I haven't experienced that. But
that's what I'm trying to think of, like, my top one.
I know Vegas was pretty good.
Yeah, like
they had some good concessions. They were expensive.
I think everywhere's expensive.
Yeah.
Except for Atlanta.
Especially if you get into the novelty foods.
Exactly.
It's going to be a little
some
more.
of your top ones.
Yeah.
My one that I can think of is Atlanta, and it wasn't even because of the food. It was because of the price of the food.
Right.
It was like, man, this is awesome. It's almost like that the kids area at the Rockies. It's like, why don't go there? But it made me think, I'm like, man, now every time we go, I want to start having a list. Like, this is my favorite food.
I'm sure people would love to read that.
Pull out your notebook at the game.
You're going somewhere. You'd ask, like, hey, what would you say?
You want to go to section 12 or 112.
Right. Well, it's tough for me, too, because I've been to so many in Colorado that's what comes to my mind. Because I've had some really good ones at Pepsi Center before. They used to have this thing on Sweet Level. It was almost it wasn't a brisket. I don't even know what kind of meat it for sure was. But then it had like this sauce on it, and it was kind of like a roast beef sandwich-esque. But then it had this sauce that I have no idea, and they don't have it anymore, and it was to die for. I'd get that every single time. It was almost like a garlic sauce in a way. Like, that was good. You know, I mean, they used to have like White Fence Farm at the Pepsi Center way back when.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so it was like, man, that was really good.
That was
just
good.
Different areas, and I mean, I become friends with the concession people. So on these brisket nachos I used to get, I would get loaded up. You know, it was funny because after, like, because they close at the beginning of the fourth quarter, he would text me. He's like, "Hey, I have some extra brisket. Do you want like a slab?" And he'd bring me a slab of like brisket.
That's pretty sweet.
It was like, so I just take home like this slab of brisket that they had left over.
That's nice.
You know? So it's like stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I remember that, but I don't know if it'd be my top one kind of thing. In Disney, we're going to Disney in January. I don't know how I didn't know about this, but Megan was telling me about a peanut butter and jelly milkshake that I was telling you about.
Yeah, I don't know.
Would you do it?
I'd try it.
I'd try it, but I don't know if I would waste my effort on if I could have that or just the chocolate one. Which one would I have? You know, I probably wouldn't do
You
it.
got to try it, right?
What if it's awful?
Then I'm sucking it down with my nose plugged. I
think
don't waste food either.
Yeah,
so
I'm
you
sure.
know,
I'm sure it wouldn't be awful or it wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
True. I mean, places like that,
and that's what they're known for.
They weed
too.
them out. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it would be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep. But I don't know, man. I'm excited to try different foods, and I'm definitely going to try to look at who's won concessions of the year, and like those are on my
When
list.
if
Those are my
Colorado
bucket
is
list.
on even the list?
Probably not.
Probably not.
You never know, though.
I don't think Colorado has that great of food, like in general.
We're not really.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't think, like, Colorado's not really known for anything here. Not a whole lot.
I feel like green chili is a big thing here.
Yeah.
It is, but it's not Santa Fe and that kind of stuff too. But it's still good.
Also, you can go to some places that has green chili, and it's just, they don't do it right.
But there are a lot of places that do it right.
Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
there are.
And that's good. And you can go back east and stuff, and trying to find good Mexican food is
Just
really
Mexican
hard.
food in general,
It's
I
really
think
hard
Colorado
to do.
is.
Yeah, so that's probably we've got better
That's what I
choices
would
there
say.
than we do other things.
Yeah. And like we were saying the other day, like the Palisade peaches, like Colorado's kind
Yeah,
of known
yeah.
for that. I mean, that's a very good thing as well.
Yeah.
But all right, so game picks, we we do 3 game picks every year or every week. Kyle's sucking lately.
Yeah,
I'm up on him by
good.
5 or something
I
now.
think it's even more than that. I think it's like 6.
It's those $5, man. I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. But you can pick with us. We were saying we're going to do the Big 12 championship, the SEC championship, and the Big 10 championship.
Yep.
Right?
Sounds
All
good.
right. So first, Arizona State versus Iowa State, Big 12 championship. I'll go first.
I've lost interest.
It
I've lost interest in the game
frustrate
with
me.
that. It's
It does, well, especially because Colorado's not in it. It's just like,
right.
dang, man.
And it's like those two teams. Come on,
I think Iowa
not
State's
that
going
they
to
don't
win.
deserve it.
I think Iowa State's the better team. They had a few weeks kind of that were a little iffy. They lost to Texas Tech and Kansas. Those are their only 2 losses. But I think they're the best team out of those 2. Even though Arizona State, they also lost to Texas Tech, but they lost to Cincinnati as well. But I'm going to go Iowa State on that one.
I was thinking Iowa State too, but now I kind of want to go Arizona State. I think Iowa State has a good secondary, which worries me about Arizona State, but I mean, I don't think anybody's respecting Arizona State at all. They got the home field advantage.
Well, up until a couple of weeks ago, you didn't even realize Arizona State could do it. You
Yeah,
know? It was
exactly.
like I didn't even kind of think.
They don't
along
have
those
home
lines.
field advantage, by the way. This is in
This is just the
Oh,
Texas
this is
game.
in
that's right.
Dallas.
Yeah,
All right, I'll switch to Iowa State then.
you guys going?
No, we wish.
Yeah, you were all gung ho when
We
we
were
see
talking,
you. Now it's like you don't want to.
I haven't said it on here, but I have looked a ridiculous amount at this game, and now I definitely will not be going.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But it was if it was.
We were talking in the last 2 years, we've gone and seen the team that ends up going to the championship, though.
We saw the
Because we
SEC
saw-
championship,
And then Georgia won it. And then we saw the Pac-12 and Oregon won it.
Now,
So
now on
this
the
year
other
it could be
side,
Tennessee.
Yeah.
We went to Tennessee, Oklahoma, so
on the other side, you got to entertain the Colorado game, wherever it might be. If it's in a great city at a great
Tim.
time of, I'm sure you've looked at
Tim,
it.
I just want
But it's
look
like
what's on my phone right now.
exactly.
The bowl ticket.
It's like if it's in a good city, a nice warm city,
yeah.
and
Supposedly,
and it
there's
doesn't
pretty
get in
much
the way
it's
of-
between 2 bowls. It's the Alamo Bowl in San Antonio, December 28th, and then the Holiday Bowl in San Diego. I think it's right before Christmas. I can't remember.
see,
when
either
that
one of those is
But-
pretty enticing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I talked to Megan about it last night. I literally had the bowl. How much tickets are
All right.
for the Alamo one? It was starting at $75.
Dude, I'd go to that.
So
Yeah,
that's
It's
where
like nothing.
That's where
Yeah,
And
You're
tickets
coming,
are
Tim?
pretty cheap.
maybe.
actually we were talking about the Big 12 chip. You were like, maybe. And we were saying,
so
like,
we'll see.
Let's get Lise to go. She'll watch Natalie, and we can all go to the game because she doesn't want to go to the game, you know? But, all right, so we all say Iowa State? State too?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Next one, Georgia versus Texas. This is a big game. Georgia's 10-2, lost to Bama and Ole Miss. Texas 11-1, they've only lost to Georgia. So this is a rematch.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Texas.
On Texas?
I'm going Texas this time around.
This game's in Atlanta, right? Still?
Oh.
Yeah.
They haven't moved?
Yeah.
I don't think they've moved.
I think it's always in Atlanta.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, you're right.
Does that change?
No, I'm still going to go.
Do you know, is Arch Manning, is he the starter? I saw him in a couple snaps yesterday, but I don't know if he's starting.
I'm pretty sure Ewers is still the starter. I'm going to go Georgia because it's in Atlanta. I think that. And I actually think Arch Manning is better than Ewers. I'm surprised that they've stayed with him, but if he's winning, it's hard to switch kind of thing. So I think that's why. But I'm going to go Georgia on that one.
I think I'm going to go Texas.
All right. So both of you going Texas.
Yeah.
I'm going Georgia. Last one, Oregon and Penn State. This is another big one. 12-0, Oregon. Penn State's only lost to Ohio State. They'll both get in.
I'll start it off. I think I'll go Oregon. I think they're number one team in the nation for a reason. I think, their strength of schedule isn't as good as Penn State's probably, but I think they're...
For me, Oregon is kind of like a false number one.
I kind of think that too, but I think Penn State is just as much as a false.
Well, who's the real number one then?
Notre Dame.
Why did I ask?
Yeah, that's easy.
Why did I ask?
Well, it's hard not to put them at number one with they're the only undefeated team.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to put them there. The strength of schedule is just, I don't know. I think Penn State's a better team in general. Maybe it's because they lost Bo Nix and their top wide receiver as well. So maybe I don't know as much about Oregon.
It almost seems like maybe Oregon got better, though. Because they lost a really good running back, I think. They lost
I honestly can't even tell you.
And they lost Bo Nix.
Other than their QB,
and they're
anybody
better.
that plays on their team.
Yeah, they're undefeated.
Yeah.
So I think they've almost got better.
Yeah.
And
maybe.
No, they kept their coach. It was Washington that left.
Yeah. Last year, though, they only lost one game, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, they're a great team overall.
0 losses is better than 1.
Yeah, true.
So I'm going Oregon.
True.
All right, I'm going Penn State. So we're gonna have two different this year.
I think Penn State sucks against top 5 teams, and I think their offense is still Like I think Penn State probably. Penn State has a really good defense.
I don't think either of these teams are going to go very far, to be honest. I don't think either of these teams actually have a chance at making the championship game.
Who's in the championship game today?
If I had to pick right now.
If you had to pick right now.
Well, Notre Dame, of course.
Yeah, I know.
It's
going to be tough.
I mean, I think Georgia, Tennessee, Ohio State are better than them.
Yeah.
That's what's going to make it so great, watching these games as they go, because it's going to be everyone's going to be great going down.
If Bama does get in, you have to put Bama in there. I mean, you have to have them a chance. You know, they win when it matters, and you know, it's.
I think my prediction for the championship game: Alabama versus Ohio State.
That's terrible.
If Alabama gets in,
terrible.
It's easier to pick the basketball. If you had the 16 looking at the basketball, if this was a basketball tournament, if this was like the big dance, we would easier have a consensus on. We may be wrong, but we would think we know who's going to win it.
Yeah,
we would think we know, or these two will probably make the final.
Well, I think it's because there's so many games too in basketball, so you get like. You get a lot more feel for this.
Yeah.
Whereas like this
you don't know.
I mean,
and they, like you said, some of them played tough competition.
That's where I would say
they haven't played
a lot of these guys
quite at that caliber necessarily.
Like Oregon,
so you don't know.
8 of their wins are probably like cream puffs.
Right.
Like compared to Oregon. Same thing with like Texas. It's like
so how good are they?
Honestly, most of these teams, I would say 7 to 8 of their wins, it's like, all right, they're pretty much guaranteed to win almost. Obviously, yeah, they can lose those. Like, look at Notre Dame. That Northern Illinois game, I didn't think that was...
Yeah, that was not
I thought that was one
pick.
of their easiest. But it's like, hey, they did lose. So there is a chance. But even like Notre Dame, I mean, I'd say more than half of all of these top teams, even if they're playing against each other, like 3 or 4, more than half of their games are almost guaranteed wins. So it is harder. Whereas basketball, yeah, a lot of like some of them can be guaranteed, but you get a lot more feel for it, kind of thing, you know. So, but I mean, just look at UConn. Like CU beat UConn. Well, UConn ended up losing 3 in a row to unranked opponents, I believe, right? And I think I don't know if it comes out tomorrow. I think for basketball, they probably won't be in the top 25. They'll probably get from number 2 all the way. I bet you they're going to be ranked. You would think. And so, but who knows? You know, we'll see. So. But I think that's kind of all we got. Anything else you want to say? Like, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it was a real delight.
Glad to have you on here.
Thanks for finally inviting me.
Yeah.
You know. All
right, next week Tim will be on as well. You guys all hear it here.
I was saying maybe this time next year.
This time next year. We'll see how it goes, what you said, see if anything actually happens. If it's correct, maybe next year.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
It's a real treat being on with you guys.
Start taking notes now.
Yeah.
But you're one of our biggest listeners, so we appreciate you coming on.
I've listened to 3 of them so far.
Hey, it's 3 more than a lot of people, you know.
No, only kidding.
No.
Yeah.
But no, thank you very much. And hopefully you guys all have a great week. Have fun watching the conference championships next week. And I don't even know when the rankings will come out. Is it that Tuesday?
For the
bowls and stuff?
Probably.
Or is it that Sunday?
But I don't know.
Probably. I know,
I don't know.
Once they come out, rankings are locked in. Because,
I don't know when bowls start, like when they pick bowls or anything.
It kind of falls because... You know, other than these, when you go to the other one, you're invited to a bowl, but you can turn it down and take another one. So I don't know if there's a set time. There might be
but it's pretty much like after this week, right? So it's maybe starting Sunday to Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, kind of thing, or something like that. Okay.
I bet you, like you said, they already have their idea.
Yeah, I mean, CU's pretty much. They said that they're locked into either the Alamo or the Holiday Bowl.
ESPN said bowls start December 14th.
Yeah, which is the week after. Which you'd think that they want to have those like matchups at least a week in advance, kind of thing. Yeah. And like you said, they could be already inviting people.
Yeah,
and it's just we haven't heard kind of thing or something like that.
But
so because other than those other ones, especially like the lower ones, they're all completely set. So, but awesome. Well, that's all we got, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And we will see you later, alligators.